Hello, I'm Hilary Stanley. Perhaps you're familiar with the violet flame, or maybe you've never heard of it before. It's been my passion for very many years, and I've been running workshops and teaching it since 2007. The first workshop I ran was for 4.5 hours, and it's now extended to 4 days and still growing. So I've been intending for quite some time to give some information about what the violet flame is, what it does, and how we can access it and how we can bring it into our daily lives and start to make those changes and transformation that we need to at the moment. So I'm going to build this up over the next few weeks, giving out a few more clips and meditations for you to do, so it gives you some idea of how to start working with this energy. So I thought the best way I can explain it is to go back to my journey, my start, when I knew nothing about it. And so whether you've heard of it or whether you know nothing at all, this is right back to the very basics. I was part of a healing group, 7 of us. We're all quite comfortable travelling out of body. And we would go on journeys each week to release negative energy that had built up in the earth, whether that was sites of old battles or disasters. And we'd work as a team. The lovely guy who led us into the meditations and talked us through getting there and what we had to do, he said, before we go, we must invoke the violet flame. And I'd never heard of it, didn't know what it was. He said, imagine breathing in violet light and breathing out all your worries, concerns and negativity. We need to be clear, if we're going to travel out and do any healing work, we're not to take any of our own personal cares and worries with us. So he said, you may see negativity coming out like grey or beige light, but just keep breathing in the violet until you feel that you can breathe in violet light and breathe out violet light, and you're clear, and then we're good to go. So I did that for a few minutes and I thought, this is me, this feels like who I am, and I couldn't explain it and I didn't know what to do with that. I thought I better not tell them because it sounds weird. And so I thought I don't want them to ask me to leave the group. Thankfully they didn't. So I turned to Kuan Yin because I didn't know who else to talk to about it. And I asked Kuan Yin, I was already familiar with her energy. She's a beautiful goddess of mercy and compassion and works very much on that 7th violet ray. So I asked her what it is. What is the violet flame? What's it about? And she explained that it's composed of blue light and pink light. And blue light is the colour of power, strength, will, divine will. And that courage, think of Archangel Michael, he's on the blue ray. And pink light, which we all know is unconditional love, it's mercy, compassion and forgiveness. You combine those two, she said, combine the power and that strength to the unconditional love. And she said love really can change everything, and we know that. So that was my very first idea of what this might be. She went on to explain it's the edge of our rainbow. Beyond the violet, we can't see light. And it's also our crown chakra colour. For those of you who are familiar with our chakra system, they go up through the colours of the rainbow, and the crown is the colour of violet. So it's where we change from being this dense physical energy to becoming more ethereal energy and our link to spirit. So this is right on the edge of change. She also showed me that all vibrations of light, all different colours, just vibrate at different frequencies. It's how those aura machines work. You know, when you go to any spiritual fairs, you sit and put your hand on a plate or hold a bar, and it's picking up the vibrations of your frequencies around your body in your aura. And then it translates those frequencies into different colours. So that's how that works. So we know that all the different colours just vibrate at different frequencies. These can be measured a little bit like sound waves. So we've got red would create a very deep flowing bass line, and violet is much higher and faster. So this shows us that through all the colours of our chakras and our body, that the vibrations are quickening as we get up to our crown chakra and our link to spirit. So I understood that. She said beyond the colours and the sounds of violet, we go into the next octave of light, or the next octave of sound. So I said, okay, why is it a flame? Why that? Why not just a great big ball of violet light? Why not a pyramid of violet? Why is it a flame? And she explained that when light becomes so intense, and imagine that violet light building up, and it becomes so bright and so intense that we perceive it as having movement. It appears to flicker and move just like a flame. We know that flames and fire have been so important through our evolution. We wouldn't be anywhere without being able to forge metals in the fire to create tools. And fire has always been used at times of great change, clearing the land for new crops to grow. All sorts of things. The fire has been part of our evolutionary journey. It's also, the flame is called plasma. Now there are 4 states of matter. Everything falls into one of these categories. We have solid, which we know, liquid, and then gas, and plasma is the highest state, or the fastest state of existence. So a flame is plasma. So we've not only got the highest frequency of light that we can see, the highest frequency of sound in the octave of sound that we're familiar with, but the flame is the highest state of existence. So we've got all these, and they're all on the very border of change. They're all where things transform into something else. So that's why the violet flame is known as the violet flame of transformation. So I next asked Kuan Yin, where is it from? And she said it's a universal energy. It's not limited to time or space. You need to speak to Saint Germain. So I already knew of Saint Germain, and I knew who he was. I knew his connection with the violet flame. So it seemed just very natural to sit and chat with him. And he showed me back in the times of Atlantis, when it was known as the violet flame of freedom. And that was freedom of all ills, freedom of dis-ease, freedom from problems, freedom from ill health. So he said then, as Atlantis began to sink into smaller and smaller islands, he was charged with taking the violet flame from the temple there and keeping it safe and hidden away until mankind needed it again. Because with that civilization going, mankind had to rebuild a new civilization and start, not quite from scratch, but pretty near. So he took it and he hid it in the Carpathian Mountains and kept it safe there in a temple there, and kept it safe until sometime between the 2 world wars, when he asked for this knowledge of this energy to be released again to mankind, because we needed it going through such changes. So it started to come back into our consciousness early in the 20th century, and it was then explained that this energy is to help us with the transformation. So I just want to explain to you a little bit, it's a little bit of a sidestep, but the difference between transformation and transmutation. Both words you'll hear linked to the violet flame. If something transforms, it just changes. It's a little bit like when you redecorate your living room. It's transformed. You perhaps change your wardrobe and all your clothes, all your appearance is transformed. But transmuting something means you're changing it from one thing into another. So there's a real change. It's a little bit like the alchemists that would use it back in Middle Ages to try and turn lead into gold. It's changing something into something completely different. That's transmuting it. So the violet flame transmutes negativity into positivity, fear into courage, despair into hope. So we have that, we use the word transmute for that because it's changing from one thing to another. So having understood that, I said to Saint Germain, what can I do? What do I need to do? How can I work with it? And I knew the advice that was out there to repeat decrees over and over again to build the energy of the violet flame up. To be honest, that never really sat well with me. It didn't resonate, it didn't feel it. I found it quite boring, to be honest. So I kept asking Saint Germain, what else? And he said, you need to speak to the Elohim. Now, the Elohim of the seventh ray are Arcturus and Victoria. So I found a quote in a book by them saying, it doesn't matter how you use the violet flame, just for goodness sake, bring it into your lives. Sing it, dance it, paint it, do what you like. It really makes no difference, but you've got to get busy with all new ideas and start working with this lovely energy. So that was brilliant to me. That was a little bit like giving a child some crayons and a blank piece of paper. I had so many ideas, so many ways that I thought I can do this and I can do that, and it can start to affect changes in my life. So I started to work a little bit with the Elohim. They're the creative energy. So when we talk about transmuting something into something new, the Elohim preside over that new state, that part of it that's been created out of something old. So when we release old worries and concerns, we step into a new form or a new way of thinking. So I went back to Saint Germain and went, yes, got it. I know all sorts of ways that I can use this. And I started to write them all down. And that's when I was then teaching other people how to create a difference in their lives. And so I said, right, I want to teach this. I want to tell other people about this energy. Saint Germain said to me, we don't want you to, there's no attunements. We don't want you to do that. We don't pass it on that way. I know that may not sit very well with some of you who may have paid out a lot of money to be attuned to the violet flame, but I can only pass on what I feel is right, what I was told. And Saint Germain said, you all have violet light within you. You all carry it. It's not mine. It doesn't belong to anybody else. I can't change the vibration of your frequency, your energy. Only you can do that. So he said, there's no attunements. All I had to do was to teach you how to access that part that is in you already, how to focus on it, and how to use it and how to apply it. So I went back to all those workshops that I was doing. Over the years, I've gained a lot more information and a lot more experiences of other people. So very thankfully in 2013, I wrote a book with all the ideas in it. So this is a book that has all the aspects in it that where it's linked to relationships. That's all kinds of relationships from beginning to end. So it's not just romantic ones. We have relationships with our siblings, with all our family, our friends, bank manager, dentist, you name it. They're all relationships. And so right from the very start to perhaps when we grieve their loss, the violet flame can help through that transition, that change. So I included in the book how to apply it to work situations, whether you're employed, self-employed or unemployed. Anytime that you want to create change, or you're going through changes, this is the energy that can really help smooth that passage. I applied it to health and well-being and to releasing negativity from past lives, things like unexplained fears and phobias, and how we can apply it to that, and settling and balancing karma. So the book is really full of lots of different ideas. Some I was told, some I found for myself, and a lot of them were given by people who have attended the workshops, and they've contacted me afterwards and said I used it this way or I did that and this was the outcome. So with their permission, and their names all changed, they're all in the book. So if you'd like to know more about it, it's available through my website. It's thevioletflame.co.uk, quite simple. So I'm going to next time give you a meditation to do, and it will be to the background music from Neil Hick, and he writes beautiful music for meditation. So I've made some CDs of meditations with him, and I'll be playing you one of those next time. But until then, I just leave you with my love and a reminder that my website is www.thevioletflame.co.uk. Look forward to speaking to you again.